Hi, it's Lauren Perez, the traveling therapist here, filming another episode, but this is more of an impromptu weekend episode. As you can see, I'm in my casual clothes. I have just dropped my nieces off after spending a week with them. They were on spring break, they're from another state, and their dad drove them up to here to spend the week with me and my family. And it was a very, very enjoyable time. I see them probably twice a year, mainly because I'm the one who has to usually drive to go get them from Michigan, and it's a 3.5 hour ride each direction, and that takes a lot of time away from my own family. So I try, I like to drive, but I don't really like to drive, and I want to see them more often. But if I could get help getting them here, I would probably see them way more frequently. But at any rate, their dad brought them to me this time, and we had a really good week together. We spent a lot of time exploring a lot of different places. Took them to Milwaukee. They had never been. Obviously, they're teenagers, but they had never been to the Discovery Museum up there, so we took them and I showed them around Milwaukee. I really want them to see that there's more to life and more to the world than just their small town in Michigan. They don't live in a big city. They don't live in a progressive city. Not at all. It's a very red community in a red state right now. Hopefully the state won't always be red, but right now it is. And where they live is super red. I mean, it's like MAGA country up there. It literally is, not even an exaggeration. Everybody in their county voted for Trump at the last election. It was red. But you'll see, the Make America Great Again signs in the yards and the Confederate flags, and they're mixed race, multiracial children. They're racially ambiguous, though, so people often don't think that they're half black and half white. They throw a myriad of other socially constructed racial check boxes at them when they see them. But I wanted them to get out of that area, and really get out of that area when I had them this time, because the oldest is 17. She's going to be graduating from high school. She's a junior now, so she'll start her senior year later on this year, and she'll graduate next year. The other two are 14 and 11. That's a lie. Madison will be 13, and then 13. The other one's 14. So she's 12 and 14 and 17. While they were here, I just felt like it was really important for them to start seeing the rest of what the world has to offer. They had a lot of really good insight into a lot of racial tensions in the United States right now. More insight than I actually had expected. I'm quite proud of how open-minded and forward-thinking they are, and they think for themselves. Their dad's a Republican. Love him to death. I've known him my entire life, almost my entire life, not even an exaggeration. I've known him double digits, almost 20 years at this point. We are in 20 years. We're at more than 20 years. And he's a Republican, very conservative, to the point where he's one of the people of the mindset, if you give a teenager birth control, you're giving them a free pass to have as much sex as they want, so don't give her birth control. That kind of thinking. They were I had them here, and I actually thought that they were going to take on a lot of their dad's belief systems, because they're surrounded by their dad's family. Not that that's a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with having your belief system and teaching your kids what you teach them, but it's actually not a good thing for our little minority children to kind of fall into that, because that framework is not designed for little females of color. And I didn't have to prod or poke or try and change perspectives. They were telling me things that I didn't know that they had thought about, had considered. And I'm really proud of the little ladies that they're becoming on their own in that environment, without the other half of their family around them all the time. They told me a lot of the things that they're interested in, and I learned some YouTuber, Dolan, I forget his first name, but they showed me some of his stuff and some of the things that they're interested in. And I guess the point of this, it's going to be a very short clip today, just a weekend. Maybe that's what I'll start doing, just like peppering in some very short ones on the weekend when I'm in the car running errands, if I have an idea or something. But when I brought them back to their dad, the oldest was telling him about Milwaukee. And I'm always asking her, where do you want to go to college? What do you want to study in college? Do you even want to go to college? She does want to go to college. That's her own choice. No one's pushing her to do that. She wants to be an anesthesiologist, and she wants to major in genetics. So I'm in the process of trying to help her find a good school in her state, so that's cheap because no one's going to help her pay for it. She's got to do it herself. Something in her state that has a good program so that we can send her on her way to becoming an anesthesiologist. But while we were in Milwaukee, I showed her Marquette University and the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. And I showed her where the areas were and where they live in Muskegon. They live in Muskegon, Michigan. Ooh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Where they live, they my oldest niece said that while we were in Milwaukee, she really liked Milwaukee because it was a Friday afternoon while we were there. And there were people obviously walking around all over the place. It was lunchtime, so lots of people coming in and out of businesses, offices, parking, just walking in the streets of Milwaukee. It was a busy Friday afternoon, and it was a nice day, so a lot of people were out getting fresh air. And she told her dad when I dropped them off a little while ago that she loved Milwaukee because there were so many people walking around. So many people were outside, and it was just a really nice feeling to be in an area where that's what people did. You know, they just wanted to go somewhere, they walked, and they were on the sidewalks, and it wasn't as quiet and isolated as where they lived. And that was really heartwarming for me to hear, because that was something that I didn't even realize she was craving. And when she saw it, it was satiating, and that's wonderful. So, parents, my point of this is, these are not my children, they're my nieces and my nephew. But if you have the opportunity to show your kids more, or if you are as an aunt or an uncle or a cousin or a godparent or just a friend who has another friend that's got children, if you guys out there can expose our young people to more than just their four walls of their city, more than just their block. I have my best friend, my male best friend is from the northernmost tip of our state of Illinois, and before me and him became friends, he and I became friends, he had never left his little town. I mean, he had maybe gone to the next town over, but Lake County, he had never left Lake County. So I took him downtown Chicago. I took him down there to eat lunch. I took him to see Millennium Park, to see the Bean, to see the Buckingham Fountain. I took him to the Lincoln Park Zoo. And from that point forward, he has traveled out of the state, maybe twice a year at this point he does it, but at least once a year, my best friend leaves the state of Illinois and sees the world. And he's gone as far as California. He's been to Phoenix. He's been to Alabama. He's been, has he been East Coast? He has been East Coast. He's been South Carolina. He got into paintball tournaments and he started traveling. And he's been to Texas, and he's gone to Minnesota just for the fuck of it. Just for the fun of it, he goes to Minnesota now. And I think that if he had not been exposed, we were young. We were 19 at the time. If he had not been exposed to Chicago at 19, he never would have thought that he could go anywhere, that he could be more than Lake County, Illinois. If you have teenagers in your life, and I'm not even talking little teenagers, because like I said, we were 19. Even just any age, there is no age restriction, but the younger the better. If you can expose a young person to the rest of your state, to another county, to a big city, and the biggest metro in your area, please do. Show them that there's more to life. There's more to the world than their county, their street, their city block. There are black kids in the city who have not been farther than 47th Street, whatever their little corner of the world is. Hopefully that's not as prevalent as it was when my mother was a kid. My mom didn't hop on the L and just go travel. They didn't go far. And it wasn't until my dad joined the military and he took her with him that she saw the rest of the world. And she saw that there was more to the world than just the south side of Chicago. Expose these young people to more. Show them that they can have more, that there is more. It's as easy as hopping on a train and paying $7, a $7 train ride even. Sometimes cheaper depending on where you are. Hop on the Metro or whatever the public transit is in your area that kind of cuts across counties and across the state line, the state. farther than just like the local bus. Show them, tell them that there's more, encourage them. I want her to she wants to go to college, she wants to study abroad, and I want to be able to foster that for her. So if that means me having to come up with the money to help her do those things, I'm already planning for that. She's gonna get to that place before my own children will. And I hope that my family can band together and give her the $2,000 or $3,000 that she's gonna need in a couple years to do her study abroad. But do what you guys can. Show the kids that there's more. Take them, like I said, to the nearest metro. Whatever the next big area is, show them. Show them big, tall buildings that are more than 2 stories high. Public transit, mass transit, big crowds of people, the hustle and bustle. It's in their best interest to know. You can be a part of whatever it is you want to be a part of, and I'm really happy that I was able to do that for my niece. And I didn't realize that it wasn't something that she had experienced, especially because her dad and his girlfriend, they do a lot of travel. They road trip, and they've been to a lot of different places. So I was really surprised when my niece expressed that they don't. So I like road trips, especially as our kids get older. My kids get older, I'll be able to do that more with them. And at the very least, I can take my nieces to go do stuff. So Milwaukee's going to become a part of when they come visit. I'm going to try and get them up there every time. They haven't been to Chicago yet. Oh, I took them to Chicago. Yes, they have. I've taken them to Chicago, but not in the summer. So hopefully when they come this summer, I'll be able to take them down there and show them the Millennium Park and the Bean and Buckingham Fountain and all that great stuff. But just a short video for today. Adults, get the young people out there and show them that there is more to the world. Young people, you guys all have access to the internet. Look up the places that you want to go within your area. Let your parents know that you want to see and do more. Maybe they just haven't gone because no one encouraged them to do it. And if you encourage your parents to do more, they will. That's a great thing to do. It's not something to be ashamed of. And there's no fear, there's no shame in never having traveled before you were 55 years old, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins. There's no timeline on travel. There's no deadline. You're never too old to have a first. And if you can have that first with someone young, give it to them. I think that it's in all of your best interests to do so. So thank you for listening today. Again, Lauren Perez, traveling therapist in the state of Illinois. I shoot these traveling therapists in my car as I drive, not because I'm only in my car traveling, but because, well, it is. I don't really have an office space that I can sit and do my filming, but I drive a lot. I drive between Lake County, and I'm in the Loop, Chicago Loop, and all of my clients, I'm like 89%, maybe even 95% in the field. But I do have a GoFundMe page. Please don't back into me. Please don't back into me. Please don't back into me. What the fuck? I'm not going to stop for you to back out of a driveway. Jesus. I have a GoFundMe set up so that I can try and save some money to rent an office space, because people drive like freaking nutcases, and I'm out here in my car all the time dealing with this crap, and I really would like to not do that anymore. So if you can donate even $5, visit my website, EWA, Illinois, EWAILLINOIS.org. The Traveling Therapist tab. Take a look. I do a blog as well. So if you would like to submit a request for me to film on a certain topic, or if you've got a question about a blog or a video that you've seen me do already, please visit my website, submit your inquiry, and thank you for your time. If you can afford to donate, the GoFundMe is on my website, and I'll also include the link. I think I'll be able to put it in the comment section here. But every little bit helps, even if it's just $1. I appreciate it. But thank you for listening and watching, and you guys be well.